on February 14th of this year, 17 students and teachers were massacred in their classrooms in Parkland, Florida. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to have a memorial for everyone who was killed in Parkland, Florida. These are the 17 victims of the Parkland shooting in Florida. We invite you to join us for a moment of silence, honoring their lives and honoring their memories. Thank you.
Thank you. We want change. We want change. We want.
Let me tell you what I do know. I know that I have talked with my roommate candidly about what to do when there is a school shooting at my university. You notice that I say when, I don't say if. Because in the world that I have grown up in, I expect that. I go to the University of Georgia. There are 35,000 students on that campus. It is an open campus, and we all know the risks. And we talk about them.
We want change. 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 We want change.
And I want to talk to you about some action that we can take today that can save lives. But I was reading just last night from the Jewish story of creation. Now, I'll welcome everybody here from every faith tradition and people here of no faith tradition. You are my brothers and sisters, and you are my fellow citizens. In the Jewish tradition, in the book of Genesis, after God created paradise and God created the earth, human beings messed it up and they were kicked out, but they were given a second chance. Made in the image of God, they were given their own chance to create, just like their Creator. And it says that Adam and Eve were so happy because they realized that just like they were created, they received the power to create. Shortly after that, their two children went to the field, and Cain, a brother, killed his brother, Abel. And when God spoke to Cain, he said, "Where is your brother?" And Cain asked a question that is still being asked every day in our society. Am I my brother's keeper?
Yes.
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Yes.
We are our brother's keeper. We were meant to create, not to destroy.
We want change. 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 We want change.
And you know what's even crazier? It's these people that want to give guns to teachers. Listen, I know every student in my school knew where my tests were hidden. The last thing I needed was a gun in my classroom for them to find. Kids will be kids, and bad things can happen. So we really need to think about all of this. But parents, community, lawmakers, clergy, people of faith, people that organize, all of us need to realize that we are saving our own lives because we're saving the lives of our future. These are our students. These are, again, our most precious, precious, precious commodity. And they must be saved, and we must do it.
We want change. 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 We want change.
The truth is this: no child should be afraid to come to school. No parent should be afraid to wave goodbye at the bus stop. And no teacher should have to worry about how to react in a real-life shooter situation. freedom to learn without hindrance. However, this freedom has been robbed from us. From all this suffering, we must find our voice so that no other school mourns the loss of life. As the upcoming generation, we must capitalize on this time and work towards putting an end to the vicious cycle of gun violence within American schools. Right now, as a country, we are suffering and mourning the loss of young life. But from this suffering, true character is shown, and that is when change happens. We are at a pivotal time in our lives where we must equip ourselves with necessary knowledge to provoke change. This is the time to empower and support one another as we work towards a safer world. Major change isn't going to happen overnight, but what we can do is extend compassion and acceptance to our fellow students and fellow citizens and take stand for necessary change. So as we gather here today, look around and know that there is strength in numbers and that we are the voice that will bring much deserved justice. Thank you.
We want change! 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 We want change!
These high school students that are standing up need to stand up more. We need more children to stand up because it's our lives on the line. Every public space. We have family members dying from gun violence. Those people standing in their own private gun-free zone who say gun-free zones are for snowflakes, they're gaining money off of dead bodies. I did a bit of research recently. According to facts and statistics, based on the amount of money that the NRA gave divided by the amount of gun deaths that same year, this was 2017, one life is worth about $328. But we believe that life doesn't have a price tag. So we're going to vote, either these representatives will vote in favor of the people's interests and of their people's lives, or they'll be voted out for people who do.
We want change! 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 We want change!
Today about superheroes. When I was a kid, I was sure that I had special abilities, and these abilities gave me the power to change the planet. And one day I was 5 years old, running toward barbed wire, and I was sure that this was the day, this was my origin story. I was gonna transcend that fence in the treetops, and I ran hard toward that fence. I came up a fence and some tree chops short. And I have a fleshy memorial on my leg from the time I learned I was not a superhero. Over time, you realize that you're simply ordinary. And when you're younger, it's easy to believe in superheroes. But as you get older, you lose hope in yourself. You lose hope in the world around you. You see the cruelty of people. You see the violence in the world. You see injustice. And you see other people's apathy in the face of it, and you wonder if good people are still here. You wonder if heroic people still walk the planet. Young people are making me believe in superheroes again.
We want change! 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 We want change!
Frederick Douglass said that he prayed for freedom for 20 years. And it wasn't until he started praying with his feet that it showed up. We've been praying for gun safety in this country for far too long. We've been praying for good people to understand that you can believe in the Second Amendment, but you can believe in all the rest of them too. That you can know how to shoot and know where you should not be shooting. I know how to shoot a gun. I grew up in Mississippi. I know how to shoot. The one thing is, my grandmother who taught me how to shoot a shotgun, my great-grandmother said, only shoot what you plan to eat, and I eat mostly chicken. So. But the reality is, we've spent decades having a false argument about whether it's the right to own a gun or the right to shoot everyone. That's not the argument. The argument is, do you have the right to put other people's lives at risk? The answer is what? No! The question is, do you have the right to put our children's lives at risk? The answer is what? No! Does the NRA have the right to dictate our futures? The answer is no! Does anyone have the right to tell us that our lives don't matter? No! And so we are going to do one thing in November. And before we do it, we'll do it in May because I kind of need your help. But if we want to see change in Georgia, if we want to see change in this country, the thing we have to do is vote like your life depends on it. That's what we got to do. When I was 19 years old, I had an amazing opportunity. I was invited to speak at the March on Washington, the 30th anniversary. And I stood on a stage. The crowd was a little bit bigger than this. Although I tell you, I only barely remember it because panic is very real. But what I do remember was the fact that in a sea of thousands of people, it was student voices that were lifted up. Young people's voices that became the clarion call for what we have to do. Because in the history of America, it has always been the voices of the young that have rang out the loudest, that have been the strongest, that have forced us to change who we are. And so for that reason, I want to say thank you, a profound thank you, to the young people who are standing up and demanding that we do our jobs. Protect them now, protect them tomorrow, and make certain that no one ever has to march for their lives again. Thank you so much.
We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change! We want change!